Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Joseph Neman in the house with the big support. Appreciate that. Big ups. Big ups. What is going on this morning? Let's just get into it. I'm hungry this morning, so I'm going to get some food after this. Can we hear the music? I think the music looks like it's going. Good morning. Good morning. Price continues to push down. Grayscale continues to discount the price for us. Like I said, I hope they sell their whole frickin' bag. Let them sell the whole frickin' bag. Let everybody else accumulate for their ETFs. Actually, you know what? I shouldn't even say that. I shouldn't even say that everybody else is accumulating for their ETFs, because what people need to understand in this little pullback or massive crash, as everybody's calling it, is that we still have two of the fastest growing ETFs in history. Of some 500 ETFs, these BlackRock and Fidelity ETFs are two of the fastest to $1 billion in history, right? So there's over $2-3 billion into these ETFs. Actually, it could be more than that with the 11, but I've really only been paying attention to the major ones. Liberty and Trust in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. I got distracted when you popped in there. Yeah, so I mean, these are two of the fastest growing ETFs ever to happen in history. So, you know, with the price pulling back, it doesn't matter. Like I said, I am not worried about this price pullback, and I'm even expecting, and we've been talking about this even since November, that this would probably see a big wick and then come back down and retest this. Now, is it just going to retest? This is the monthly chart I'm looking at, by the way. I'm looking at the monthly chart right now because I feel like this is what's the weekly close and the monthly close are what I'm looking at now. We're January 23rd. So in there on the daily time frame or lower, the 4 hour, I don't care at this point, because what I want is that long-term low leverage long right now, and then we can scalp. When things get volatile and the big players or the market makers are back in, then we can think about scalping again. I mean, actually, yesterday, if you had been short scalping this, that good for you. I personally really want to get out of shorting, and I've been saying that for the whole time we've had this channel, a couple of years. That I want to get away from shorting because, you know, just as a personal thing moving forward, I want to get away from shorting because I want to do what I believe in and what I believe to be true and beneficial for everybody. And I don't think that shorting is that. You know, and yes, it's going to take generations for Bitcoin to really change how people feel and how we handle money and how we take it from each other and the greed and all this. And as long as there's value here, people are going to trade it, people are going to short. But do I miss out on money if I don't short? Yes, but you know, I believe the long term. I just continue to DCA, and I take the long opportunities when they're there. And it's like, I don't need to be greedy. We don't need to be greedy. The idea is that we better everybody's life, not just our own. And I think that's it's a big focus that people have, is that everybody's just looking out for themselves, and that's it. Because, you know, capitalism has taught us that we should only look out for ourselves. But you ever notice that all the foreign families that come here do better than us because they all work together? They all fucking live together until everybody has a house. They all work together as a team. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's only the Western world that's like this. So it's like, I don't really fit in with it, because I want to benefit everybody. It's the reason I do this channel. It's the reason I come here every day, because I could just trade. And do my thing. But, you know, I feel it's important, you know, and eventually I'll work on growing this channel a little bit. But for right now, it seems that we have a small audience that's appreciates our content. I've had a few people reach out now and ask where I was with the lives that week and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. Appreciate all you guys who do chime in, whether you're in the comments or not. We still appreciate you. The short is our DCA. Yeah, and like short, go ahead short. It's all good. Go ahead and short, and we'll continue to buy. I'll continue to DCA. Like these lower prices, like honestly, like I was thinking there for a minute, if we blew over 50K, like if we had got over the 78.6, like we were talking about, and we know we will, but it didn't happen then. We got the rejection right there. You can see it right off the 50 or the 78.6% fib on the monthly chart. Boom. So what's next is me again. Like I don't. you know, everyone's worried about this thing just dumping right away. I think it's going to hold here until closer to the end of the month. And if it lets go, what I'm going to be looking for is a weekly close under this right here. So you see the weekly bouncing off of it. You see the weekly candle bouncing off this right now. And we knew that up here, the RSI for the weekly was maxing out. We said that, right? We knew that the top was near at 83%. I actually called the top at 80 to 85%, and we hit 83%. So bang on there. But I really wanted another long. I'm still in a long, actually, because if this weekly closes above here, then I still feel pretty confident that we're going to stay north of this orange line, this support line, based on this previous run. And if it lets go, then I think we're going to go down and test this 50% fib, which is 32.8, right? And you know, the reality is it probably wick a little bit lower than that. If it dumps that far, people get pretty scared because of fear. Where are we right now? Down to 49. Look at that. Like, that's just insane to me. So what that tells me is that they finally lured fucking retail in here. They finally lured retail in here, and there was creating the fear in the market. That and all the rich people. So you need to understand how the fiscal year works for all these rich motherfuckers before they do their taxes. They'll sell off a bunch of Bitcoin and record it as a loss. This is happening right now. Millionaires are dumping Bitcoin, taking it as a loss, writing it off for tax purposes, but they can't buy in right away. They actually have to wait 30 days. So if you do that, if you sell off assets to write losses as tax write-offs, then you have to wait 30 days before getting back in. And that's also what we're seeing here too. So I'm not worried. It did 160% in the last year. Who's worried? Man. Like I said, dump your whole bag so I can get some lower prices, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, only having a couple years or a year before, a year in a downtrend to accumulate, like, I don't know, it wasn't enough. Like, I'm looking forward to a couple of cycles, and, I don't know how much profit will take in this run. The thing with these ETFs is that it could kind of crush the 4-year cycle and the bear market. Like, if ETFs are just continuously buying up Bitcoin, then it's not gonna see a 70 to 90% bear market like it has in the past. Absolutely not, because everybody that buys, if they buy up, they've already bought up $2-3 billion worth. They're not selling that. That's not getting sold. So that's another thing to think of too, is that this bull run is whatever's happening between now and this halving is going to be the last big dips. It will be the last big dips. These will be the last biggest opportunities in Bitcoin, in my opinion. And there's always going to be opportunities in crypto. There's always going to be opportunities in blockchain gaming. I believe the FOMO will pick up again next month. Yeah, absolutely. And it's great that people are selling this off, you know what I mean? And I did expect them to buy it up right away, and they still might. Like, this is really nothing major, in my opinion. We're down 20%. That's nothing. That's nothing. Like, a 50% drop before the halving is not uncommon. Or a 50% drop even when the halving happened was not uncommon. It happened last bull run. So, like this right here, for example. Wham. Whew. Sheesh. That was probably sketchy for some people. I bet a lot of people lost money in these little shakeouts here, actually. This little shakeout, which is what we're seeing now. You know what I mean? So, as long as we're here, as long as we're above this, I still feel pretty good. I'm still in an open long, and I'm actually pissed off. I had my next limit for that long position that I'm in was 38,376, and I think on Femex it hit 38,523, so $100 and something away from my next limit, which would have had me pretty close to back in profits again, which is what I want, is to be somewhere right down at whatever the bottom is when I get my full amount in. And I'm trying to get $1,000. I would be upfront, transparent. I'm trying to get $1,000 into a 7x position for the run to 50K, and this is basically my barrier for that. I'm not feeling too good underneath this underneath this fib, because if we close and confirm, like I said, if we close a weekly candle, if we close this weekly candle under here and confirm that, it's looking pretty sour for another month or so. Yeah, but either way, that's the DCA opportunity. So this thumbnail here, this sale, do not fucking miss this opportunity. Do not miss this opportunity. You cannot afford to not own Bitcoin anymore. You can't afford not to, right? And I'm not saying go all in, sell the house and sell all your assets and go into Bitcoin, but you need to allocate some money to Bitcoin. Just a little bit, whether it's 10% of your holdings. If you don't even, maybe you don't even have any money and you just got to start that DCA, treat it like an RSP. You buy once a week, okay? RSPs generally bi-weekly or maybe once a month, but you should be buying Bitcoin at least once a week so you don't suffer as much of the volatility if that's an issue, right? And daily is honestly the best. Buying daily is the best. I bought daily for quite a while in 2023, and I obviously stopped that because I had just had some trades going, and I actually took some profits. So I was waiting to get back in some lower prices. And you know, it's funny, people were saying I was stupid for selling at 44.8. A bunch of profit at 44.8, whatever. It went to 44.9 or 49K, but I had a leverage trade in there. Got some more Bitcoin, and now we're at 39K. So I mean, you want to take some profits. You got to DCA in, DCA out if you are paying attention. But I mean, if you can't, if you're not doing that, if you're not trading, then you can DCA and you stay in, and that's it. And you continue to buy. You continue to buy, and then you look at some profits at the top of the bull run. Top of the bull run. What I didn't pull up today was the news, the CoinDesk. But what's going on is that GBTC is continuing to sell, and the other things that I'm reading about is just all the rich people taking the tax benefits of selling off some Bitcoin at a loss, and they can't get back in for a month. So maybe February's red. Maybe February's red, and we come back down here because the S&P 500, again, like I said, this is exactly what the S&P did. So they came to their 78.6, and they got a rejection. And then they went over their 78.6, and then came back all the way down to the 50% fib before breaking their all-time high. And they're above their all-time high, which was 2021, just like we were. Right, and we've been following this thing all year. I was able to call the bottom based on what was going on this S&P. We had this same W pattern or a larger cup and handle, however you want to look at that, before we eventually went up to the 78.6. And we've continued to follow this thing, and we continue to follow it. You can see the patterns are, they're not exact, but they're fairly similar. And we made our trip up to the 78.6, and now we're seeing our little pullback here. And we know that when money's flowing somewhere, like in one direction, that's generally all these guys working together, pushing things up. And why wouldn't they? If you had a big team of billionaires, why wouldn't you do that? Right? And what they're trying to do is just suppress the growth of Bitcoin too. They can't have this thing just going to the moon. But I don't think they really understand the supply crunch. Like this year, we're going to actually see at the most basic of economics, one of the biggest supply crunches to happen. So we're going to see a very, very interesting display of what happens in just the most basic supply and demand market. And when the halving happens, so right now, if the block reward is 900 Bitcoin, so there's 900 Bitcoin a day, going to or released to the miners or going to exchanges or whatever, however to articulate that, it is going to from 900 to 450 in May, right, at the halving. And now we have ETFs approved. These guys are now they and we talked about this on the episodes too of Your Future Hand, is that when the masses decide something, it's like they're not controlling the future. They're doing all this and whatever and have us all like wrapped around their finger. Whatever the masses deviate towards and go towards, whatever kind of disrupts their system, is what they will fucking latch onto and try to gain control of, because they know the masses are going there anyway. And it's happening now. It's now being proven with these ETFs being launched now 2 years later. Wow, I guess the ETF, they've been applying for them for 10 years. But we've had this show going for a little over 2 years now. And we've been talking about this. They will go whichever way the masses go. And the masses don't trust them. The masses don't trust their dollar. The masses, you know what I mean? They don't trust the middlemen and intermediaries anymore between their money and their transactions in somebody else. All right, so they're launching ETFs because they have to get in. And the idea of the ETF, if they own the mass share, they can suppress the price, they can control the price, they can distribute the Bitcoin as they see fit. And I don't necessarily think it's nefarious. Like, everyone thinks it's like evil. It's like, man, it's like we are their society. You know what I mean? They're not trying to kill us off or make us all poor. It's like there is ways to win the game. You know what I mean? I don't think it's necessarily nefarious. It's just about they are maybe doing what they feel is best to control the situation and stop everyone from killing each other. You know? I just try to be the optimistic one, though, too. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. Mr. Elon Musk. I'm going to say that one in every episode. I love that. Look at this. This is beautiful. Let's look at Ethereum for a minute. Look at that. Wham. Just beautiful. And I don't actually personally hold any Ethereum. I am a Bitcoin maxi, and I have been scooping some ADA over the last month or so, and I got... yeah, maybe I got a couple things. Not quite a Bitcoin maxi. I got some DOT as well. Ethereum, though. This is beautiful. Probably going to test this 50% fib again. And, you know, maybe getting some Ethereum is not a bad idea, because Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin in this run. 100%. And, you know, like, it's nice to see Bitcoin pulling back, because if you're DCAing in now and you're going to get some of these gains from 30K, you're going to do better, because, you know, if it had just jumped 50K and stayed on 50K, the reality of the bull run is only another 3x. And people, but they really want more gains than that. So you'll probably get, you know, a 4 or 5x out of Ethereum from $2,000. You know, and anything else, like the beauty of the reason I've been dollar cost averaging into DOT, and let's just look at DOT for a sec, because I have a feeling, oh geez, that's not what I want. DOT USDT. Look at this. So here it was the bull run high. I started DCAing in down here. December? Yeah, December. Yeah, that last week, first week of December. So right in here, right in this dip. I started DCAing into DOT. And it sucks, because I mean, I could have taken some nice profit, because I actually put some Bitcoin profits in there. But it doesn't matter, because that's what I want to hold for a run, because I feel it's going to outperform Bitcoin. And it absolutely will. So it went up to a high of this time $10, which is great. But, I mean, the high was 50 and easy going to $80, $100 this bull run. So, I mean, you're talking about a fucking almost more than a 10x. Probably an 8 to 10x on DOT in this bull run from here, because no one's paying attention to this shit. Everyone's buying meme coins and NFTs and fucking retarded shit. And you know, any of the smart players are dollar cost averaging into some of these bigger projects that are actually doing things, and they're gonna outperform in the bull run. And maybe a few memes do well, but man, any of that shit like that, it's like, not many people are going to be able to hold them and make the money that people think. Like, memes are not as exciting as people think. They run up, but it's like, how many people in there do you actually think had the hands to hold getting those kind of gains? Probably not a lot. Like, the volatility in those things is crazy. So it's like, you know, maybe a handful of people get rich in the meme coins and shit, but it's probably not going to be you. You know, and that's just the reality. But I am holding a couple memes, because I got a couple gambles. We're coming into the run. We're not halfway into the run and chasing the end of a run this time. Now we've been in through a cycle, and we're coming into the bottom of a cycle. We know that. We know that for certain this time, and that's why we are DCAing and accumulating as much of this mother suckers as we can. But Ethereum, man, that is a good buy. DOT, I don't know. I'm gonna support DOT. I'm fairly bullish on DOT for this run. They did have a nice little bounce. Like, I mean, this was a nice bounce and recovery to get above this high. And I'll continue to DCA there. ADA, let's look at ADA. I want to start looking at ADA on this show, because I do appreciate ADA. And here's another thing too, and it looks exactly the same as that DOT chart. So this is what altcoins are doing, right? So Bitcoin maxed, or what they felt was a max for Bitcoin at the time. People take Bitcoin profits and throw them into altcoins, right? And now you got some people taking some profits out of the alts, which is normal. This is actually really, really healthy market behavior that we're seeing. And if it just kept running, then the fall would have been worse. So let's hope we catch this as support. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much it. Any thoughts? Any questions today? We are live. Always appreciate the support. Always appreciate the support. People hanging around in the chat. Love that. Love that. Yeah, I mean, again, nothing major. I like to broaden my kind of horizons. This is why I look at the weekly and the monthly. Forward thinking, always. Yeah, absolutely. Only close to having, yeah. Yeah, anyway, big ups to everybody who comes around and sticking around and showing support. Love that. Continue to DCA. This is the time you should be absolutely vigilant. If you weren't getting in down at 15K and DCA and this whole way up here, now is the time in this pullback, right? Because no one wants to start. It's hard to buy in when it just keeps pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping like this. What you want to do is be buying when it's dumping and dumping and dumping and dumping and dumping like this, right? And that's what people need to get in their heads is you got to buy red, buy red, buy red. Do not buy hype, buy red. DCA into red candles, and you will see healthy gains in Bitcoin. Anyway, that's it. We will catch you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Catch you in the next one, guys. Big out.
Bigs and Bogs.